Thanks, Jordy. So I'm calling from the phone. Works for every other app. I can hear myself through the microphone, and yet it just refuses to be recognized by Zoom. So I have no idea. Very, very odd. Well, sorry, guys. I'll try not to bemoan the issue, but no, yes and no. I'm feeling better physically and worse mentally, but whatever. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I am actually, I can breathe, so that's good. Still have a little bit of fluid in my lungs, I can tell, but I think I'll be fine. Anyway, how is the sound? Is it good enough? Pretty much. Not great, but good enough. Yep. Okay. All right. For some reason, I cannot seem to control much of anything I expected to. Well, it's just life now, isn't it? Okay. Temperatures are pretty good, I guess. Hmm. Very odd. Okay. So this is what we've had mapped out for a while in crude. And let's see, just 1 second, let me make sure. Nope. I've spent way too much time on trying to get a couple of computers built, one for a backup and then one for, running properly, which I don't think I've actually ever had until what I thought was going to be just now. But that's all right. I'm closer than I've ever been. Yep, it did totally reset everything. All right. So otherwise, how are you guys doing? What SSD did you get, Jeff? I can't reset it for you right now because I don't have that ability on here, but just call me when we're done, and then I'll go through it with you. It's weird that I would do that. It shouldn't even say that. Okay, here we go. All right, 1 second. It's doing a little test here. All right, I know this isn't really pertinent to the conversation, but you can still hear me, yeah? You guys do hear me? It doesn't look so. Okay. Got this thing figured out. AMD is not the way to go, in my opinion. You can't really, you can't get much above just what it is right out of the box. Like there's no tweaking involved. You're lucky to get past 4.2, 4.5. So maybe this next version that's coming out November 3rd, I guess, will be better, but Intel is still the king when it comes to what it is that we need, in my opinion. So, 1 second here. And I'm gonna write up why I've figured out quite a lot that I would rather have never known. The latency for me is always going to be an issue. Just because of the fact that I'm broadcasting my screens. All right, now I've got to restart. Okay, give me just a couple of minutes here. I'm going to let Ninja Manager open this thing up. One, two, yep, and we'll go through these. Boom. Yeah, I've seen that. In the 5,000, you mean? And you can actually get it up to 4.9. Still can't break 5 for some reason. So what was so good about that old 4-core, I don't know, what was it, 6700K or something? Base clock was 4.0 and it turboed up to 5. That thing ran Ninja 7 like no other machine could. And you would actually hit 5 on all cores, all 4 cores, but 4 cores is nothing to write home about. But hitting 5.0 on 12 cores, now that would be something. And I doubt that we would have any kind of lag at all. But then again, we've already started on, we've already offloaded the calculations outside of the volume analyst. So, and we've already done part of the auto update so that once there are new DLLs available, you'll click a button, and then once you restart Ninja, you'll have the new DLLs. So once I get this update out, then we'll get the auto update out, and then we'll get the new volume analyst, which is going to be what essentially makes all of, all of this to do with CPUs and latency and performance a non-issue. So give me a moment while I let this open up, and I can see if I can keep myself from having a nervous breakdown real fast, and I'll be right back. All right. Can't believe you guys are still here, but thank you for doing so. I know it must be incredibly aggravating. Multiply your aggravation times 100 and you might have a sense of what I feel right now. Not that that is any consolation, but no prize to be had for that anyway. All right. Now then. Oh, buddy. What a bizarre series of events. Nope. There we go. Nope. Just 1 second while I force this thing to do what I want it to do. There you are. All right. I know this is looking like it's about to break out to the upside. I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust it at all. I think, in fact, it's a double three. We really need to go back to the bottom of this channel for this thing to have completed. So let me just map this out for you. Come on. Anytime you find it difficult to select an object, if you saw me click and then click and then click and then click. So if you do that, if there are multiple objects right on top of one another, then it'll actually cycle through those objects as you click back into that same. So you click into that area, click outside of it, click back. It'll cycle 5 times. So hopefully you don't have any more than 5 objects on top of one another. Of course, the easier way to handle that would be to just do this, and then you wouldn't have to deal with that. But that's one of the things that we added for just convenience. So this is more like what I was thinking. And now that the market has opened up, we'll see what happens here. A, B. I think we have a proper ABC for wave 2, actually. Yep. I'll have to call that. I'll come back to this triangle in a moment. Yeah, I have to call that. ABC, W, A, B, C, D, E, triangle, X. We'll see, but this is tentative. ABC. All right. So if that's A, yeah, C is 61/8 of A. And then let's see what the last C is, 50%. Okay. About A to A, 61/8. Quite interesting. 76. That makes really good sense. So now, double 3, okay, so let's say that the nomenclature is wrong, but let's just do it like this anyway, because that's the way I've got it. Kind of worked out without having to go back and redo all these numbers and letters. I'll have to do a little bit of work on that channel to make sure I've got the right slope, but let's see. We'd like to see a 78.6 retracement of that, which is pretty close. 1 second. All right, sorry. I'm going to move this right there. All right. I'm not going to worry about anything other than doing analysis for this upcoming week, which is what we would normally do. Today was supposed to be a bit of a summarization of this sale that we're having, but I'm in no real shape to be able to do that anyway, so let's not worry about it. I'm not sure if the mute in Zoom is actually muting. You guys just didn't hear me. Well, never mind. All right, so that WXY, that's our first three-way pattern to the downside in my estimation. So let's say that that is A. We're looking for B back up, and then we want a big C wave down. And we'll have a look at NASDAQ and YM and see if that makes sense or not. If this is the previous fourth wave, then we would like to come down near that. This could also be the previous fourth wave here, but it kind of makes more sense for it to be that low. I'm not going to go over all the details of that entire last fifth wave up, but that does kind of line up pretty good. We're going to look at the continuous contract in a second. All right. See how I did that? So I connected this second click. Look at this low here. If I connect it to the lowest low, median line doesn't really line up on that low here. If I connect it to this low, than it does, and it also lines up with these highs a little bit better. So that's what we're running into now. Interesting. Could be a running flat for the B wave. That definitely looks better though. Yeah. So check this out. Ah. Yep. I think we're gonna run through the larger one and right into the upsloping channel, which would be A. Now this is going to be wrong, and it still work out. So the labeling can just trying to think if it's wrong, well then what is the fourth wave going to look like? If this is a 1, 2, 3, little tiny 4, and then come on up. All right, it's either that or it's about to break out into a massive move to the upside. But I'm pretty sure this channel is right. Let's just double check it. At these lows, lining up with that high, with these highs, after which you only went sideways for 4 or 5, 1.5, 1, whatever that is, 1.7 something hour bars, 2 point. Help me out, guys. 122.28 hours. Seems like the right slope, but we're going to see on the YM. I think this is the right downsloping channel, though, just because of the fact that the midline is lining up with that high, kind of lines up with this low. I'd much rather draw this upsloping channel on the hourly chart and use the lowest closing prices, which I'll do now. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope, it needs to come down one more time. And it's not a 1, 2, it's an A, B. So, in my view, this is the best count. It's either that or that's a third wave high. And this is the fourth wave low. And now we're going up to make the fifth wave, which would look like something upwards of 3687 to 4,000. Remember, that's what I was saying for the longest time was 4,000. That we wouldn't have any sort of dramatic, massive reversal down until the S&P hit 4,000. So if this is the wave 2 that I think it is, that I think it's going to be making, looks like I already had it up there. Well, I've got it labeled incorrectly now, though. All right, let me clean this up so I can export it and it makes sense. So let's see what that median line is going to look like by the time it gets down there. So figure it'll be up another, be right at 3,030. So yeah, I'm thinking a dramatic 5-way move down. That will give us probably a beautiful wave 2 high after it breaks down through that upsloping channel. And that's going to be one worth waiting for sure. This is the one time you'll see me do this. Until I make my own. I don't like any of that. All right, let me just play around with this for a second. Right? Hmm. All right, I'm gonna leave that right. What, Charlie? What? Hello? Oh boy. Can't export that, but you can see a picture of it. The only reason I chose it the way that I did, and I could add a couple of other numbers in there, but the main one I'm looking for is this one here. So I'm putting the 61.8 on the low, which happens to have the 38.2 line up at that retracement high, which seems to be the divider wave. And I could count this, one of three different ways, and it would still suggest that that is the first set of three waves down, right? The first half of what could be a larger correction, or it could be the end of the entire correction right there at that low. And this could be the resumption of the trend and going into the fifth wave, heading up to at least 38.19, probably much, much higher. Or maybe not. Maybe it just goes up to, 36.86. Either way, if the low is in, and I should mark that, for it to make sense, let me make it like this. It still doesn't really make all that much sense. W, X, Y. Which could mean pretty shallow wave two, but I'm thinking more of like a fourth wave low. before it heads up one more time. It kind of breaks some rules. It just depends on how you're counting wave 1 and 3. See, if this is, all right, let me do it like this. If this is a 4th wave low, that means that this must be a 1, 2, 3, right? Right. Why? Why? Not quite perfect, but it's pretty close to that 261.8 for wave 3. Right? But then again, that high is pretty close to the 161.8. So there's a couple of different ways I could do it. I could make it such that this whole move up is the first 5. And that just throws a wrench into the whole thing. It makes it look as if this is an A expanded flat B, and now we're in the big C wave down to below 2100. All right, I don't want to jump on board with that yet. I really don't even want to think about that. That means they're going into another lockdown and they're going to just totally destroy the world economy on purpose. Don't put it past them. They don't care about you or me. They care about money. But that would mean that they would have already built up some pretty massive short positions. Do you see that anywhere? I see it back here, and then I see them unloading all of those short positions and going long again. I don't see any of the unraveling of those long positions. No way. No way. If this high goes on up and we get up past 3,600, 3,800, then we'll have a look and see if we don't have some overlapping, rounded top look, as we would typically have at a major market high. This is not what a major high in a stock index looks like. I don't care what they would have you believe it, L8 wave or whatever. This is not what it looks like. It looks much more like this, where you've got a couple of initial, whoa, what's happening? And then it regains. You had one back here. It's like, oh, whoop, uh-oh. Start paying attention. And then, whoa, we're going into the bear market. No, it looks like we're going to be okay. This is them unraveling lots and lots and lots of long positions. And then this final portion is where they're really unloading all of their longs, and it rounds out. And then they cover them. They're long again. Make money on the way down, on the way back up. Okay? None of that has happened up here. So this is not the high that Prechter acts like he thinks it is. I know he doesn't really believe that it's the high. He's much smarter than that. again, it could be that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Problem with that becomes, well, how do you count wave 3 up? I would say that you pretty much have to count this as your 1, 2, and therein becomes the major issue. Well, now what? So then that's 1, 2. Well, that's a 1, 2 of 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3. And then a little tiny running triangle. Well, let's see. Not really. Could that be 3? Makes it the shortest wave. So then what could you do? Well, that can be 1, 2. Okay. And then this can be your 1, 2, 3 that I don't like so much because the A wave comes back inside of wave 1. But you've got wave 4, and then 5 here, 5 there. And then it makes a bit more sense. Let's just see how that counts. Not really the best. We'll have to do this on the actual stock index for it to make total sense. 1, 2. See that 61.8 there. Yeah, this is all a little bit convoluted. So, yeah, I can't get behind that being a wave 4. So, well, let's not show an alternate count until we actually have one that makes sense. Why am I doing that in blue? Yep. Such a weird move. All right, let's stop and go over here real fast. Right. Mm, very interesting. I like this high a lot, but let's see how this looks. I want to kind of, I want to kind of cut through that highest high. Let's see. So 2, 3. Ha! Holy mackerel! Why didn't I see that before? You see what I see? That warning line? Hmm. It? Wow, huh? Time and price. Time and price. Yeah, we're coming up on a high pretty soon. All right, so we want to figure out what then to the left is potentially going to coincide with that. Is there anything in here that might act as resistance? Maybe that gap high. It's pretty far away. I'd say the gap low, or the midpoint of the gap, would be the highest that I would allow for. They'd be on the 78.6. Hmm. Charlie, what's the deal, Pickle? I'll hang out with you in a little bit. Uh-oh. So then we just need to figure out whether or not that's the first five up. And then this is a 1, 2. I think we'll find that it is a 1, 2, and that it's going to go a little bit further than we may expect. And let me clean this up. I'll go back and export the other one in a moment. Yeah, see? And then by the time we get up there, that 138.2, which currently is, 29.59, that's going to be up here around 3,000 even. And we've got a gap there that coincides with these highs, sort of. Yeah, it does. I just had moved it, obviously. All right, I'm having a really hard time. We got an eye doctor's appointment on the 14th, but cannot see the cursor on this chart. It's really starting to bother me. It'll work, I guess. Buy hot paint. Oh, yeah. Charlie said no. Whatever, Charlie. You can't always get what you want. There's a bit. Yes, Charles, I hear you. That's better. Let me get him out of here. He's really getting on my nerves. think I was just muted during that whole time. I was just saying, look, I'm going to be, doing this chart by chart, market by market for all four of these markets. So, that's going to take quite a while. And if you've got any questions, go ahead and start asking them, and I'll try to, get to them as they come in. Thanks, Mr. Thomas. Have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Eh, see, I'll leave that on there so you can understand where that warning line is coming from, but not essential. There we go. I'm going to remove that and just have a simple trend line in case we do come down and find support there. All right, that's the low after the gap up. Let me just play with this for a minute. I really want to find this high. That's the low after gapping up through that high. It's a tiny low. It's the last one that provides us with a down sloping area. It's a little bit easier to see. Come on. That's a really, really steep one. I'd say we're headed for 3,500 on the cash index. Well, we're already there, aren't we? In the futures, I mean. So if we can just come down a little bit, it doesn't have to be nearly as dramatic as this. Chances are it'll be kind of a shallow triangle since this was so sharp. So what I'm thinking is, doesn't really matter, but let's just call it let's just do whatever, ABC. Okay. That's A, B, and then C down to about 35.50. Okay. I think we've got all of our bases covered. And in case it is a fifth wave up, we have our target up here that continues, going straight up. No, I'm saying 35, 25, 35. I don't know what price that actually is going to be. 35, 33. What I'm saying is go up, complete this B wave, which is a zigzag. A, B, C, and then go down in 5 waves to complete the C wave down. So if this is a 1-2, well, then we need a 3-4, don't we? Follow me? You can see it pretty clearly for wave A, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you've got an A, expanded flat, B, C for the B wave, right? That makes sense, right? So we're looking to get up into here. What I want to do now, though, is make this an hourly chart and see where the midpoint of that first big down bar is. Yeah. All right. Well, happens to be the gap high, or does it? Should be. There's no volume on here, so yeah. Open is 43, closes 51. Yeah. So that just happens to be the gap high. Terrible color. I'm not gonna muck around with all that. So we'd like to see it pull back inside of that gap. Doesn't have to do so. Right there would be so perfect though. Wish I could get these waves to do exactly what I want. Fix on the exact future bar, but not a very easy thing to do in Ninja. Tell you what, these monitors look beautiful. How vivid the colors are. Well, I don't know if that shows up on your end, but pretty impeccable. And let's just go ahead and finish it. There's a 1, 2. Boom. I'll go ahead and do it as a 120 minute as well. I believe I'll leave it as a 120 minute. Yep, we've got our target pretty well clearly defined there. So any pullback is a long. You can see. A couple of beautiful pullbacks on Friday. One in the row. One. Why are these fans showing as not being on? I'm doing all right though. 60 degrees, 55. Eh, not as good as I want it, but whatever. Yeah, row one had a lot of longs in there. You know, I'm gonna make, and it's fiddled around with it, but you see like these shorts here? These are showing up as your very first lower high or higher low short trade in an uptrend, or the reverse would be a very first high or low in a downtrend, and those are the ones that fail look like, what are you doing going for a short, buddy? Like, it's obvious it's in an uptrend. Well, often enough to where I have them in there. It happens to be on the faster charts where, the counter trend looks as if it's, say, in an uptrend, whereas the larger time frame trend is down. And so those first lower high shorts, when the higher time frame's in a downtrend, but the lower or faster charts are in an uptrend seemingly, those can really turn into massive third wave trades. I have 6, but I've yet to do the daisy chaining part of it. I just got this thing rebuilt properly now. And yeah, I have 6, but they're 1440p's. I think I've got to take it down to 1080p to make it work right, to make it as stable as possible. Currently, I'm using 4. 2 on top, 2 on bottom. I would recommend 3 across the bottom, or 3 across the bottom, 3 across the top. No larger. If you're going to have an array like that of 3 or 6, I think they should all be the same size. And I think they should be no larger than 25, 27 inches maybe. That looks uncomfortably big to me. But I mean, that's what they say about my head. So, it's not though. It actually fits quite nicely. But I can understand why people would think it'd be uncomfortably big. It's about the size of a basketball. Or a watermelon. Three or 6 is ideal. Hmm. It's going to turn into a pretty good little long trade there, I think. Let's see. Whoop. I still don't really know how their alert system works. It's never been something I've needed to use. Where is this? Now that their color system works. Uh, hey, Rob. Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. I think I'll make it. Well, I have to, don't I? Don't like any of that. I'm going to take from this side, and that's going to give me the slope that I want, isn't it? Yep. All right. I'm just setting this up for the next trade here. I think it's going to be in probably 3 hours, roughly around somewhere in here. Just don't like any of that. It's got to count right. So it doesn't really do that at the moment. There we go. Yeah. So let's just see. That's 0, and that's 1, 2. Nah, I had to call in, Rob. I've rebuilt this computer, and I could not get any microphone to work. The speakers work fine. None of the microphones would work. It's probably a setting that who knows. I tried everything that I knew to try, and it still didn't work. So I ended up having to call in. Yeah, just a little bit on the ridiculous side. I'll leave that right there. I think we need to hit 3490 first, unless it's already begun that decline there, at which point I would do like this, and I would be looking for a move down to that parallel, and in line with that point of control from Friday, which I imagine is the point of control. So at least that of Friday. This is the point of control, but if I just do Friday session, it's going to be right around there. Observe. It's a little bit top heavy. Quite a bit top heavy, actually. All right. Yeah, I sure am. Slightly nuanced between curveball and incompetence, but that's it, buddy. I think this is where we're headed. Give you that big fat D right there. Yeah, we'll have a look at bonds then. I'm going to do the euro next. Well, I'm going to do crude next, and then I'll do what in the world? Come on, baby, don't do me like this. But it said don't have it installed when I do have it installed. Interesting. I'll tell you. Windows 10. I'm about to set an appointment with a Windows 10 specialist in a baseball. It's weird. I'm just seeing some of you guys' comments just now. Okay. I think I've got everything working now. Just going to run a speed test real quick because things are acting quite old. Yeah, that's right. You get over that 500 megabytes per second. That's what you're supposed to do. Of course, they're just robbing me from my upload speed, but whatever. They got to get you somehow. All right, just 1 second, guys. I'll be right back on it here. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to pick up the pace a bit. Yeah. I've actually, I need to take a short break. I really must, unfortunately. But when I get back, I'm going to start flying through. Actually, I'm going to do like this. like having this one so small. Yeah. Yep, I'm going to fly through the rest of the ES. I mean, look at that low. Goodness gracious, how could you miss that? Not having Daniel around on Friday, maybe? I'm sure Bo caught it. We'll check that out in a minute. That's a brilliant one. Actually, where's the high? Yeah, that's the high. Oh, it wasn't quite so easy to find. Well, it is when you use the highest high. Yeah. Goodness gracious. And then where would you expect it to go? It didn't make it to, and this is an interesting. Let me go over this for a moment before I take a short break. So this is a important topic that you should make note of. You'll see this over and over and over and over and over again. It's really a great example of it. I'll put a profile on here temporarily just to see if anything lines up. In a, well, whatever. In a future version, this will work. We'll have an indicator version of the volume profile, which is going to be magnificent. It's going to be built into the volume analyst, isn't it? Magnificent. All right, so you see here, and this is a perfect example of this. All right, this is one channel, correct? With the pitchfork drawn. And suppose not many people have this sort of it's not something you would notice unless you could combine both into one drawing tool and do it, apply this sort of analysis very, very easily and quickly as we can with the tools that we've made. So being as it is that we do have that ability, you start to see these patterns recur over and over. And this is one where you've hit the channel line, which is the parallel of the baseline, right? Baseline from high to high, channels the parallel from the low. You hit that, but not where the median line intersects it. Oftentimes, that's where we do hit it. It hits right where they intersect, especially if it's a wave 4. On this scale, we don't really know for sure what it is because we have that overnight price action in here. And I had someone suggest that we need a tick chart of the RTH session. And I agree wholeheartedly. It's just, could you imagine me adding one more chart to these workspaces? Don't. It'd go over like a fart in church. So anyway, here, although you did turn up from the channel line, you missed the median line by how much? Charlie is getting mad. It's being locked out of the room. You missed it by that much. So, because you missed it by that much, and I know this is maybe counterintuitive, you might expect to go through it by that much, right? Because you missed it. So the distance from median line to upper is at this point that far away. So because you missed it by X amount, you would expect to go through it, possibly, by that much, or even by that much from the channel. But in fact, you miss it, and it looks like you got a little pop right there at the end, but you miss it by about the same amount, almost identically. Well, it is identical, that you missed it back here. So you want your target, since you've turned up from the channel, that's your first target, that upper median line. In fact, that's about as far as it will go quite often. And you'll never make it back to the trend line from high to high, because the slope has changed. And the slope is usually changed from back here. See? Well, let's just make it quite obvious. You still don't quite hit that either. Maybe it's changed from here. You bring that up. Yep, that's the one you hit. So that is providing the new slope. So it's losing steam to the upside, in other words. So the slopes are constantly shifting and changing. And it takes a little while to get the hang of being able to read that and see it when it's happening and as it's happening and yada, yada, yada. But as time progresses, you see it, and you can then catch it before you slip up and get into a trade that you shouldn't have, or exit a trade too soon, or not know where your next target needs to be relative to the change in the slope. So this is just simply connecting the low here, pre-market, to the low after the open, and then grabbing the parallel and bringing that up to the high, and that gives us the exact top right into the close on Friday. But the point of this is that you've missed that median line by that much, even though you've turned up from the auto line, the channel. So you want to have that much cushion off from your target. And your target is that upper median line. Even though it may continue to, go on and on and on, intraday, that's your target, right? So let me do, I don't know if this is going to be readily obvious on an exported chart, but that's some lagging happening here. One of these markets is taking off. We're about to figure that out when I get back. So does that make sense? Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. All right, I'm just going to step away for just long enough to, I'll be right back, okay? All right. Can you hear me now? Hello. All right. Good. Well, it's quite interesting. Caught that low to the tick, didn't it? Bam. And the midline. Very, very interesting indeed. Oh, well. Actually, not exactly what I thought it was, but that's all right. They caught it nonetheless. Pretty cool. I am curious about a profile on the RTH chart always. The first higher low. All right. Let's zoom through it. Bruce is asking, how did I reduce the size of the price markers box? So in the version that you have now, you've got to grab the bottom right corner, but you've got to do it manually. The next version, which I'm not going to say it. So Tuesday, I'm going to have the live room again. Maybe Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday. I'm gonna do my best to get this out tomorrow, and then it will automatically snap to whatever number of columns and rows that you have. And then if you want to reduce the size of the entire buttons, then you go to settings, and there's the button size, which will now update in real time, not in the one that you have. And then this is the space between the buttons. But the one that's coming will have all of these automatic settings built in. Then you can open the import manager from here. Pretty neat. All right. Just excuse me. Just remember that if you are, drawing a line or an object, whatever, and your mouse crosses over one of the panels, it's going to immediately stop drawing. It'll kill that draw. It'll kill the drawing of that object. I'd say we have a pretty clear target there, wouldn't you? Mm. And your weekly, where's the weekly? See what I had here. Ah, so I did have wave 4 marked out there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of. Hmm. You know, interesting that I have that on there. So, well, let's go ahead and finish that count. So we might have that long setting up within the next hour or so. Hmm. All right, let's say that is wave 4, but not of the magnitude that I was expressing earlier, more along the lines of uh, 4 of 5. So I don't know if that works. Go back and export these anyway. 20. Should be at 276. Oh, I'm feeling all right. I'm just depressed and sluggish. Tired of working on this computer. But I mean, I'm not coughing nearly as bad. The only temperature I ever had was like 100. So it's not like I was super ill. There's a few days that I thought I was, oh, I got COVID. Oh, what am I going to do? But I got over that pretty quick. Pretty sure we already had it. I mean, we tested for the antibodies and said that we did have it, but evidently those tests are not very reliable. So, uh, the whole thing is a toss-up. People like to say that they're getting better and better and better, but the only thing they're getting better at is doing the test more rapidly. Still, I mean, still tests for, random RNA, which everybody has, most people have, just from any illness. So, yeah, they claim that I did. I mean, I don't know about this time around. I didn't bother getting tested. But I'm pretty sure we had it back in January, right at the end of January and early February. That's what kind of freaked me out, is because it started getting like that again. It started off as just like a really bad cold, and then you're basically not bedridden, but you don't feel like doing anything, and then you have a fever, and then throat is super sore, and then it turned into walking pneumonia. This time it was just immediate walking pneumonia, which I think was mostly brought on by allergies, and then it just got into a typical chest infection. So wasn't that bad. Bad enough to where it freaked me out. I would get better, and then I'd get worse, and I'd get better. And stress doesn't help. Thank you very much. No, I'm not actually. Just lots and lots of zinc and vitamin C, and I got a Z-Pack and an inhaler, but they gave me a weird one for COPD, I guess. Symbicort. And then some cough syrup. which does help you sleep like a baby. Yeah, I'd say we've got a pretty good target there. This before. Well, duh. Look at that. If we break 30, 40, yeah, well, I think we'll do that tomorrow morning. Probably in the overnight. It's going to be tricky. I don't know if it's a double 3 up. It can easily be that. If it's in wave 3 of C, then I think it's going to be very difficult to find this high, which I'm not going to try to short anyway. But I want to buy long, and I probably want to buy long tonight. All right, I'm going to try to figure this out. What if that is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And think about that being 1, 2. Well, okay. One. Either way, it just doesn't make a good wave 3 high there. Which is why I need to do it on the RTH. Let me go ahead and export this one. A lot of lines. A bit. Let me just do this quickly. Right. Well, see if I can go back a little farther than this. Nope. Well, that's interesting. Eh, I'll leave it at that. Can't remember how those guys at Elliott Wave did this. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, okay, that can work. This is going to be very awkward, but it does provide a typical target for wave 5 relative to wave 1. So if this has to be a big 5, so that could be 1, 2, 3. That's an ugly third wave. Don't like it. One, two. Yeah. All right. I think this can make sense. I know we've barely gotten through ES yet. All right, so I'm kind of thinking that we may just be coming up on wave 3. Here. And then we'll have wave 4. Why would I think that? So 1, 2, and then smaller 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay, for a second. You're not going to believe it, John. I got a big bottle of that about 2 weeks ago, and I've been taking it every day. Stinks like sulfur. I think you're the one that told me to get it. It has a peculiar odor to it there, right? The NAC. White capsules. White powder. Yeah, I got some. I've been taking it every day. That and vitamin C and zinc and fish oil and all kind of stuff. All right, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is a bit awkward. Yeah, I like that third wave being done right there. Excuse me, and that being a triangle 4 after a nasty wave 2 here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3. All right, just to hurry up and get this done. All right, so if that's the case, then have we come back inside? Yeah, Yeah, we have. Well, doesn't hurt to try. Just trying to find alternate counts that will make this have a clear target other than a lower high. But I think for now, our best bet is that lower high. So let's just keep it at that until we see some reason to suggest otherwise. Nah, nothing more to do over there. Okay. If that looks like this. I don't like that. All right. Let me clean up these faster ones just so we're off to a good start tomorrow. And then I'll clean up the server. It doesn't have a bunch of nonsense old files. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for staying as long as you guys have. You guys are kind of dropping out. Well, not as much as I had thought. So I'll probably just end it here in a few so I can at least have dinner while it's hot, amazingly. and finish up when I get back. Any questions you guys want to go over? I wanted to cover a number of things today, but as fate would have it, it's an impossibility. Are you, Richard, are you getting the imports, exports? I'm basically marking them in this 3,500. And then I want to see it go down. So I'm expecting this to be a lower high. But you're in the forum. We'll go over all that on Tuesday. And I'll send a link for that out tomorrow. But yeah, for right now, I want to see it head up to about 3,500. It looks like it may have already made the low off that midline on the 2-minute chart, but I don't think that's going to be the final low. I think it's going to come back near Friday's overnight high. Let's see. Well, I got the 5-minute right here. Always a blank screen. You have to sign in once every 24 hours. What is the name of it? Is it TTP Analysis Live or is it something else? So this is what it should open up as, just like this. And it should be TTP Analysis Forum. If it's not that, then simply delete it. And you can delete it right here. It's just a Chrome app. You don't really uninstall it. If you uninstall it, it's going to uninstall Chrome or any number of other browsers. So where your Chrome apps are here. So you can right click on it and go to more. I wouldn't uninstall, but I'd go to more and open file location. And then just simply delete the shortcut. Okay, delete the shortcut and then go back to it. You know, go back to portal.tradetheplan.com, log in, go to the forum, which let's do together now, and then sign in to portal. Go to forum, and right here you'll see that little plus to reinstall it. And now when you install it, it'll be named TTP Analysis Forum. Okay. Which should take you here to sign in. And once you're signed in, the thing is if you've signed in on multiple devices, it's going to mess you up. So you've got to go in and go into account management, or actually click on your name here. And then your name here. So click on your little icon and then your name. Preferences. And log out of all of your sessions, all of these sessions. So I've got multiple sessions here. So I'm going to log out of all of them. And now I'm going to go log back in and go back to the forum. And I should be good to go. Got it? Cool. Yeah, it's usually a problem with being logged in on, being logged in on too many computers or too many sessions. You know, you've got multiple Chromium, whatever, browsers and whatnot. And then if it starts acting up, just log out and log back in, and you should be good to go. And that needs to be a video at the top of the forum. Where are my Zoom controls? 7:45, and I'm barely through the ES. All right, so this is the next trade that's setting up. Where is it going to set up? Looks like it may have just done that. I don't see any signals, although it's going to be difficult to get a signal on the very fast charts, as this would be a tiny, tiny setup. It's barely showing up on the 5 minutes, so it's valid. Normally, I don't take anything that shows up on anything smaller than the 5 minute. If we pull back to this area here, I'll take it. I'll attempt it. You know what that's gonna be a weird one. We've got the big gap down. I don't know if I would use that high. I'd use the highest closing price on the 5 minute. I have a feeling this is going to go higher first, and that will give you the high to connect to. But let's say it doesn't. Let's just say it's already made the high there. Then I would connect to right there, such that if we go down right now to here and we get a buy signal, I would be a reluctant buyer. I'd love to see that low taken out. Or even the lowest. Well, that's not the lowest closing price. It's the closing price there. Oh, yeah, it is. That's the lowest closing price of that swing low on the 5 minute. So if we could break between 63 and 62, I'd probably buy that. As a matter of fact, I will alert that right there. Did a double whammy. And then what? What's the next one? Well, if it goes lower, I don't know. It's a difficult one. Anytime I see this kind of start to round out, we end up tracing, retracing quite a bit lower than I expect. Yeah, that would be ideal. I have spent a long time on the ES, but it is about the most important one that we do. I'm going to go ahead and call it so I can go ahead and eat and come back and finish up the markets and have everything ready for tomorrow morning and still get to bed on time. I'd rather eat early than late. You know what that does? Turns you into a fat boy. Can't be having all that. Not now.
interesting that that midline would line up down here as well. Okay, all right, so I'll leave you with this. To catch this final leg up, and I do believe it is a final leg up, I'm really going to have to see what happens with this high. I have a feeling it's going to try to push higher. We've got a gap. Well, we've got two gaps. We've got 34, 68, 75 on the actual stock index. And then here we've got 34, 76, 50. Doesn't sound right. What? Yeah, I guess it was 34. We're right on top of it. Looks like we're gonna head down. Man, I hate being early. $138.2 would be perfect. All right, so either we'll make it down here into the low volume node and right around 60 to 62. Like right around in here. Maybe just tag that yellow trend line and then go. Okay, or the better entry, which is what I really want to see. I want to see this turn into 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then tag it right there. I don't know, I'd be a little bit surprised if it did that quickly. But that would be my ideal entry. And then I could ride it up past 80. Oh man, that'd be, if I could get into that before 11 p.m. and, leave the computer on, I'd just put a stop behind 46. It'd be about a 10-point stop, but I'd be going for about 8 to 1. So I'd be going for about 80 points. I mean, ultimately, the target would be up past 87. Sorry, that's 30 points, 40 points. Stop doesn't need to be that big. The stop can be just behind there. 48. I would want to give it room to break Friday's intra-session low, RTH low. Just barely take it out, which is at about 49. So that means this does need to be about 47.50 or so. Yeah. So I'm going to keep up with it. So I'm going to take a break, have some dinner, come back, finish up crude, 60, NASDAQ, and then wait on this ES trade. All right, that's it. You guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you via video tomorrow in the Analysis Live forum, and then Tuesday and probably Wednesday, Thursday, we'll do the open room again. Yeah, see, it looks like it's going to pop up. That's good. That'll give us, if it does go up and make a new high, it'll give us a flatter channel and give us a bit more time, maybe a couple of 2-3 hours to play out that corrective move down. So I really would like to see it come up and break 74. All right, let's see. Yeah, no problem, Ciro. I was late, and technology and me, mortal enemies. On the forum, the latest chart is 15 minutes. Maybe you have the same issue. So if you are on the ES and you go to here, activity, you should see this. Do you not see it? You scroll down. What does it say across the top? Did you install it as an app, Richard? Okay. Yeah, there'll be a final webinar. I got a little setback with everything I've had going on here, but yeah, that's what we're going to be doing for the remainder of this week. So this week will go how last week should have gone. So as this update comes out, then I'll be focusing my attention on training videos instead of
chart templates and files and Bloodhound and Blackbird and all that noise. But yep, you're welcome. And we'll send out the details for all that tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, though, I'm going to be focused on getting the exports out quickly, and then the installers for the rest of the remainder of the day. Thanks, Rob. All right, you guys, have a good one. Thanks, Bruce. Godwin, Mark, Richard, Danny, John, Jordy, Bruce, Mr. Weinstein, Frank. All right, Mr. Crawford. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for sticking around and hanging in there. All right.